All right, so I'm gonna start it a little bit without you. I apologize. I just had to get stuff set up, and then I got carried away with a hammer and whoops. Either way, so here we are. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. I've been here the whole time. Hey guys, welcome back to Things I Do. You know, Christian-based channel, man. I'm a Christian out here doing things, and life happens to Christians. Weird. Yeah, either way, this right here is actually going to be a fun day. I got a 2001 Chevrolet that looks like garbage right now, but have the whole front end taken apart. Some of y'all may have saw the first video of me just ripping apart that front side. So I'm going to try to do something similar here. I'll try to be a little more informative on this one. I'm not really sure if I can, because this is my first time rebuilding this axle. I work on forklifts, so I get into those axles, but everything's a little different. Going to cars, everything is a little smaller actually. So I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to see what I find. I'm going to see what I can do. I do have a rebuild kit, and the reason I'm pulling the axle out is because I got a new ring and pinion. These are set at a 456 gear ratio for this GM 9.25 axle, front axle. So if you do one, you always have to do the second, or you will blow your transfer case apart. Or these are train driven. They got a key chuck in there. Strip that bad boy out. Either way, this truck's running 35s. I got stock gear ratios, which are 3.73. And yeah, either way, the truck's acting like it's towing a trailer all the time. This one has an 8.1 liter in it, so it doesn't care that it has 35s on it. It'll spin the tires. But it does affect your gas mileage. So I'm getting 8 miles to the gallon on a good day in that truck right now. So either way, we're gonna see what it does, and hopefully this gear ratio is actually a little too high. I should have went with like a 4.2 something rather, because the 35-inch tires really dropped the effective gear ratio to like a 3.25 versus a 3.75. So I should have went up preferably to a 4.25, but to get that kind of specialty range right there, it did not really work out. And I've never re-geared axles. I usually just buy and drive and sell, and buy and drive and sell. So I'm at like 40 vehicles. I got this Ford over here. That's new to us. Had a couple of days. We don't have the title yet. It's one of our customers is getting rid of it fairly cheap. So we're gonna have 4,000 just in buying that. We're gonna try to get down a little more now that we know what it needs, but it's gonna need injector cups, because they did the heads and or did the head gaskets rather, and replaced a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's had some work done to it, but at the end of the day, it's a 7.3, and they didn't replace the injector cups. So it's at 315,000 miles or 330 something right there. The transmission pops out of reverse, and the synchronizer is going into second, or you know, really first gear is granny low, and it's not worth using unless you have a trailer. If you have a trailer, by all means use that gear. If you don't have a trailer, I'm taking off in second. So it's a 5-speed manual, so it's a ZF 45 transmission. And either way, I'm gonna have some stuff coming for that. As long as we get the title in and everything good with that, we'll have some videos on the 97 Ford. But right now, 01 Chevrolet. I like older vehicles. Yeah, the newer ones, we just had a 2020 Chevrolet. I'm not real impressed. Motor's got plenty of power. Transmission shifted out great. But, you know, if you got it in 4-wheel drive auto, it's like, oh, you could have a shake. I'm like, you should never. Why don't just balance the stuff correctly, you know? Either way, so older vehicles, less money to fix, and you get to do more fun stuff. Like this axle, this gearing went on sale. I got it for, I want to say like, shoot, $180 for that ring and pinion, and then the rebuild kit's roughly 150. And either way, it should be a Dorman. I believe it's a Dorman we'll see the quality, I guess. But everything looked great pulling out of the pack. I've had it out of the pack a while, and I've just been moving it around, so if it looks a little janky, that's my fault. And but I also got a rebuild kit for the 9.25 axle, and this it is. Oh, what brand did I get? If Rock Auto would ever sponsor my channel, we'd be set up. Either way, I don't know. There's the part number right there, though, for this rebuild kit, the XL2006-1. Like I said, GM 9.25, and the 98 to 2010 actually ran, well, you don't have to look at that. This shaft got thinner right here. So, you can get a bigger bearing. I guess they just didn't machine that down anymore. And bigger bearing, usually stronger. You got a stronger shaft. This thing's going to be plenty strong. I don't think the pinion changed. So, still the weak link is going to be there if you go to snap something. But this is what's in it. And that truck is a Hoss. And it does not care. So, I'm good putting it back in there with a different gear ratio. These are nice, good, thick ring. Really heavy duty feeling parts, so I'm happy about those components. I have no issues there. This should have the stuff you can put on it to when you cycle the ring and pinion. You should be able to put that on there, brush it on, and then actually see what's going on. It may even be, no, that's red Loctite. It should be Loctite. Bolt locker. Yeah, either way. So it does come with new bolts, bearings and races, seals. It should be good to go. We're going to put this thing together and see what it does. So, right now, where I'm at is my stub shaft or short shaft, it came out with my hammer. That's great. So, I got a little excited when y'all weren't here, okay? And decided to grab my camera because this is getting a little too fun for me. But, all I have is Milwaukee. I believe it's a 15 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 15 millimeter socket, and zip the bolts out so I can get the housing open. I'm gonna worry about the axle. It should separate right here. If it doesn't, I'll just take these bolts out, get rid of my electronic locker, and then or my forward drive actuator, I guess, to lock the axle down, because the transmission's always spinning the drive shaft. There, it's always spinning the drive shaft. So this locks the axle in, so then you're using your axle, right? But these stub shafts can give you a lot of issues. Hopefully that means someone's kind of been in here, so I'm not going to fight this a ton. And we got gasket sealer to put back around, and we'll seal this thing up real good. But, you know, I could have done some stuff, got some bushings, that kind of stuff, but I didn't. We're going to go kind of vice grip garage on this one, and maybe just rebuild after we rebuild. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping all this is right. According to the description and what I have, this should be it. This is the 9.25 AAM axle, and you got that stamp right in there. You'll have the same one. They say the 8.25 axle is the same, but you know, who knows. Or very, very, very similar at least. But I'm not going to be beating out a bunch of races. I got a welder. I'm going to weld the races, let them fall out on their own, or do some light tapping. And we're going to try to do this today. I want this axle redone today, which may or may not happen. I'm a little inaccurate when it comes to times on builds. So this is going to be a learning experience for me. Just going to bring y'all along and see how this thing goes, man. Yeah, different companies build different ways. So this is not a Dana. It should be American Axle Manufacturers as AAM, even though you go on the website and they're like, oh, we're super global. So it's like, I don't know, they branched out and I don't know, whatever. But right now I'm smelling all that gear dope that's being recycled or whatever's happening. It should be soaking into my pig mats, but more came out than I was expecting. But hey, 'tis a thing. So right now, I'm just going to break this thing apart and probably put you on a time lapse. I'll get to the next part and let you see what I got going. Alright, so I got it open, but I don't know if y'all are gonna see this too well on camera. I'm sorry. That pinion. Now I know the pinion has to get smaller, but man, the gearing inside of this is way beefier than what I got, which makes me wonder if, because they were labeling some stuff like a thick axle or thick cut gears, and I'm wondering if I'm supposed to have the thick cut gears for this one. And it's all stuff, maybe. We're gonna, I don't know. Let's just see. Because even like, maybe it's because it's not out. Sorry, I'm not pointing this, I'm staring. But, man, I mean, this fits. It's gonna go over my trunk, but I guess it sticks out fairly close. Just a little bit different grind, and I don't really like it. I don't really like it. But, I mean, some stuff has to change for doing a gear ratio. But, I don't know. It looks pretty even now that I got it sitting on there. It's just that taper right there I didn't like. And, this is a thicker gear than the... No, it's not. We'll see. Either way, we'll get this thing more apart, and I should probably stop here, but we'll go on about our business and see what all we can get going. Alright. Ha! Man, I boogered that thing up though. That thing got the cheese, the mustard, the elbow grease, whatever you want to call it. So, the good news is, these pinions look identical as far as the grind and everything. I think we're going to be perfect as far as this going back together with the right gearing. So, that gear's a little smaller. I don't really like that. It is a front axle, so I'm not super worried. The rear axle is where I'm going to be doing my towing. I only use four-wheel drive for getting out of my yard, even though it's flat. Whatever. Good news. So, these are Timken bearings that were in it. I went with Koyo bearings in this set. So this is the Koyo set. I don't know why I didn't look at that earlier. But we seem like we're going to be perfect as far as bearings and races go. Got new bolts. Got this is a sealant to reseal the case. Red Loctite for the bolts. And then this is going to be our paint for the gearing, just to make sure. So we'll be good there. Now, if I'm wrong on that, sorry, and I'm gonna have to go buy some, and I will apologize later. Our seal looked exactly the same, so I went ahead and pulled that out, which I'm sure y'all saw on there. But new compression washer, new lock nut, a little paintbrush to put that on the gearing, and then yeah. So right now we should have some shims down in there. We'll be able to make everything good. We did replace, hang on, there we go. I had to turn the front screen back on. We did replace, or we're going to, be replacing the gear set. So in doing that, there's no chance of them being the same exact thickness. That would be near impossible. Now, I will say the grinds on the new ring and pinion are pretty good. So on some of the cheaper ones, you get like grooves, I believe, and I don't really like that. So these actually look like they're very well polished, very well taken care of. Or the quality assurance seems there. So let me just say it that way. So I think we're gonna be doing good with that gear set. And yeah, putting it on there really gave me a little bit more confidence, just because the outside of that ring is the same width as the other one. Yeah, either way, the stock stuff is good. That's good stuff. The truck's over 200,000 miles, which means the stuff, well, the front axle, I mean, everything's spinning, but it hasn't been engaged, so it hasn't got a ton of torque through it all the time. But I'm excited to do this with the rear axle. The rear axle's got a massive ring and pinion. Yeah, it's gonna make both of these look little. It's a bit of a hoss. Even, I know the ring, the pinion itself, when it goes around the ring, that's where you get your gear ratio. So each time that pinion turns, so the big one turns 3.73 times to get one full rotation of the ring, right? So the smaller one, you have to change something to get different ratios. So 4.56 is going to end up having a smaller pinion. That's bar none. That's why you should never start running into 5s and stuff like that unless you are getting one heck of an expensive brand. You need very good quality if you're running like a 5.56 or something like that. So I think some drag cars use that stuff, blah blah blah. That's cool. Not me, man. I'm seeking a little more dependability than that. Like I used to know a guy who had a it was Toyota Tacoma on like 38s, and he was running really high. I think it was like 5.6 something, probably 5.65, whatever, gear ratios in the stock axles, and it transferred enough torque to spin the tires. So if he was in dirt, he would try to do burnouts or something dumb, or just spin the tire in the dirt and hot rod it, and he was snapping axles left and right, aka just destroying everything. So don't run super high. 4.56 is the highest I'd ever want to run. I don't want to run anything higher than this, but unless I'm running a much bigger axle, you know what I mean? Like, these are just your stock axles. The rear one's an 11.5 ring and pinion. It's a bit of a monster, so that's a pretty big one. But yeah, either way. So I'll stop ranting. I'm gonna get into taking this other section apart. Obviously, y'all saw me beat the snot out of that to get it out, and I ended up, just because I had it, using this. I like using vice grips or something to hold whatever you're hitting. It keeps your hand a little farther away, and it makes it more stable, so that's a really good thing. This is just from one of those little hammer tools, the little pneumatic hammers. That's all this is. That part was fairly rounded, and I was like, cool, we'll use it. And it gave me a nice strike area. It's a good steel to do for beating everything to death, and because that's what it's already made for. But you got to be careful in anything with a lip like that, because you can chunk it off, and I've had to have surgery on that crap before, when you chunk a piece off in your hand. So yeah, so this one, next time I go to use it, I'm gonna have to round it. You start getting those little lips, round those off. Don't let that stay there. You gotta round it, right? You want it kind of like a ball peen head almost on there. If it starts mushrooming out, you'll chip a piece off, and you don't know where it's gonna go. And it does not care about your clothing. It'll go through 2 or 3 layers of clothes. It's going to go into your body if it goes at your body. So just round them. I got a little die grinder. I just use that and just round them off. It takes 5 seconds, and it saves you a hospital trip and losing a lot of blood. So either way, I'll go back into time lapsing. We'll make some more progress and see how it goes, man. All right, I do want to show you something. So when I got this apart, right, there's some snap rings. I do have some play in here, which I think is going to be some of the bearings. That is very, very shot out. Should never have all that. Like, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah. Either way, we're going to get this apart in a minute. There is a snap ring in there, and I forgot about it. Either way, snap ring, and then I'm going to get that. It's really a shim or spacer. Either way, just a washer, whatever they're going to call it on the thing. We'll get that out. It does have a little locking one underneath it. We'll get that out. This spring rides in here. But what I want to show you really is that gear set right there. Now, that gear, which luckily is in really good shape. There is definitely metal shavings all throughout this thing. So I was worried about where that was all coming from. But that's right here. So you got your splines of your axle. That's your axle shaft coming in right here. Your CV axle attaches to that side, goes to your wheel and tire. You got spline shaft on the inside, and then this gear set right here is controlled by the electronic solenoid. So when you do your push button four-wheel drive, it's electronically activating this shift lever right here, right, by pulling this arm, right? So I guess it's actually pushing it. Either way, it'll push it out to lock into that gear inside of there. So that's why you don't have anything going on until you lock it in four-wheel drive. But the front axle drive shaft can spin. So you got input, but it's not becoming output, right? So it just kind of dies out. And this is how. Basically, you have a small one-speed manual transmission right there. So either way, when we tear that transmission apart, I'll show you what I'm talking about. That's just a manual shift mechanism right there. Electronically applied manual shift, right? So, I mean, if that ever went bad, I'm sure they probably got some pull cable that you can use that'll just pull that over. So maybe, but usually if it's electronic, it's holding it in place with power. So you send 12 volts to it and it locks it out, right? Either way, I just want to show you all that. We're about to get this apart. We got to get the bearings out of there. We should have all of it. And while we're on the subject of bearings, one way you know you have a bearing, it doesn't matter about the manufacturer, the brand, or whatever. There's a model number on the bearing. So see if we can get that. Either way, this one says HM88649, right? So I've seen professional parts people not know this number. So you can look that number up. This one, here it is, HM88649 on the new bearing. I know that's going to be the same bearing. That's a casting number. So anytime a bearing manufacturer, whether it be Koyo or Timken, they're manufacturing for somebody. So that model number has the exact specifications for the inside of the bearing, the taper, and the size of the outside diameter, and it matches to the race, right? So that's a good way to tell if you want to, you know, jump into all that and just know things. This is supposed to be a full axle rebuild. I don't know. We'll see, because I don't think it's going to have those outer bearings. It might, but I think it's going to be more just a chunk rebuild versus the full axle like it said. But we're going to see. In worst case scenario, I have to throw it back together for a little bit, run those, and then go from there. But I'll be out of options. I got to have my truck here soon. So either way, I'm going to go back to time lapse and I'll see you. Alright, so just want to show y'all something. This is spinning right. It's one of the few times you'll ever run in reverse threads, but righty loosey. Yeah? Hey, it's hard to hold all this. Either way, I just want to show y'all that. Righty loosey, lefty tighty on reverse threads. Try to hold up my legs a little better. There we go. Yeah. I'll just take it on the whole adventure. Now, set our bolts off. Yeah. Haha. Yeah. So, now that we've made it this far, I do have to pull these bearings off. But now, so we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. And these should be the same inside diameter, which they look perfect. Yeah, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. We got this thing together. We'll be good. And I gotta set everything, so maybe we won't be good. But I'm gonna try my best to do my best. But we may have to play with that bearing right there, and I don't want to, but I will. I will. But okay, I'm gonna time lapse again. Alright, y'all, so this is a Harbor Freight welder. Anyone can get one of these. You can get the cheaper version. This one just weighs 14 pounds, so it's easy to carry around. But it's a 110 welder. I gotta run it off like a million drop cords. It's doing fine. It's not tripping breakers. They're thick drop cords. They get real thick at the other one. But in saying that, this is all gonna clean up really well. You can see some burn, little where the specs landed. That's all fine. This is all gonna get cleaned up. But these races are insanely hard to get out, right? So anytime you're doing an internal race like that, they're a pain in the butt. So this is what I do. I can't touch these, they're still hot. I weld a bead, not with any technique other than just a moderate, slow. See that? I just put a bead. I even missed a part in that one. That's probably why that one's a little harder to get out. But these, even that section missed. That one fell out. I didn't even have to touch it. That one I put a little bit of hit on with a hammer, and it just fell out. This one, I got it out with these, with picks. So if you're ever in a jam, just weld the things. These things are nightmarish to begin with. I know I got new ones. Like, obviously check your parts before you do it, but I got one left. I just wanted to show y'all what I was doing and give you another option, because it sucks trying to get these out with the proper tools. So a little mechanic hack. I use it all the time. I know y'all are thinking, what's all that rat catch on fire? And yeah, I left it look close. I used to be a firefighter though, so this is still real fun. Another way. Yeah. there's that. For you people who like fire out there, there's something. Enjoy. This is the day after Christmas, so this is my fireplace. Alright. But I'll show y'all what I'm doing. So I weld around the inside. Now I put a washer in there, which is going to be hard to see right now. But I put this washer in there to protect the bearing. It moves around a little bit, but all this stuff will just come right on off. Yeah. Yeah, look at that race. That's the race. It'll, by the way, I'll just show you. Did I get it out? Alright, well, almost got it out. If you're pulling it, you got to be a little careful because it'll pop right out and you'll touch it and everyone will cry. But I'm like, this is no pressure. It's just trying to get the right spot for it to come on out. And look, I'm going to clean all this up and get all this junk out of there. I get that's a bit taboo for bearings, but if you cover it like that, you'll be doing fine. Because sometimes, man, you just got to do this. Like, seen some other guys on YouTube, some family men doing their channels and stuff, and man, they struggle with this, and they're like, yeah, we couldn't get a welder in it at the buddy's house. And, like, gotta get a little 110, man. A little 110. It doesn't actually transfer that much heat to the aluminum. It just transfers heat mainly into the race, and then when it heats up, it expands a little bit, but when it cools off, you expanded the inside more than the out, and it constricts the metal, and they'll just fall out. It's just so much easier, and everything cleans up nice. It really does. And even like these little marks, the little burn marks, they just wipe off. You know, it's not like you're damaging anything. You're not sitting here welding for 30 minutes either. You know, it's like, it takes 120 seconds to get around the whole thing. But, yeah, out of the way. These things get real stuck in there, and it's just, to me personally, it's not worth fighting when you can do that. Because your time is valuable too. I need to be inside with my family and not just out here working all the time. So if I can save a little bit of time and not increase my risk of anything, I'm pretty happy with it. There, I got all that off. And not to mention, this took a lot less time than trying to do it the other way. But we're good. Cool. Alright, so like right now I don't have the $2 puller to pull these off, which sucks. But one thing you can do is destroy the bearing, which this broke off with me trying to get it off. But you can't get that lip with that angle. But what you can do is get this inner lip. So if you remember that inner lip's there when you can't see it, and you break the bearing off, break the outer cage and the rollers out, which when your bearings are going bad in your axles and stuff, these very, very strong solid steel rollers are going to come out, and they're going to get lodged in between your ring and pinion, and it will just stop everything. So it doesn't matter how fast you're going, your front tires will just gonna stop. I had it happen to me one time doing 65 miles an hour on the interstate. And it was a scary moment. But the Lord took care of me, so it was awesome. And yeah. So that's a whole crazy story. I used to have a Jeep Wrangler. It was a 91. And we put a 6.2 liter V8 diesel, a Chevrolet NV 4500 transmission, AMP. It was a 261 transfer case, I believe, out of I think it was a 96 Chevrolet that the transfer case came out of, a 95, I think, for the transmission. The motor came out of like a 87 military truck, and then we put Jeep Grand Wagoneer axles underneath it. Dana 44s. They were running like a 3.03 gear ratio, so they were terrible, and we were running 37s, but I got 20 miles to the gallon with that thing. Shock over axle lift, either way. Thing was lifted about 10.5 inches. I was doing 65 and my 37-inch tire stopped on 285 going around the perimeter of Atlanta. Very, very, very freaky moment. But the Lord told me to get a snack and put gas in my gas tank before I got on the interstate. And lo and behold, man, the gas tank was behind the rear axle, and man, it took care of me. It when the front tires locked up, it nosedived real hard, shifted all my front axle, ruined my suspension, everything, shifted it over like 3.5 inches, just straight to the right, nosedived real hard on front left, and shot me across 3 lanes, which luckily there was no traffic, because the Jeep didn't start all day, which it started all the time. It never had an issue starting. And that day, I was supposed to leave at like 10 in the morning. Didn't leave until like 10:30 at night, and it saved my life. So the Lord's really good. And he's not intimidated by me being a crazy young child, because I was 21 at the time. And yeah, either way, could have died. Who knows? But it shot me all the way 3 lanes across traffic. Like, it shot me directly into the lane next to me. I tried to correct it, so luckily I didn't lose steering. And I came left some, but it was stopping so hard, it was pulling left, so I had to go with it. Went left across 3 lanes and went all the way into the inner median, and my front tire rested against the inside median, which if I was any farther right, I'm pretty sure I would have been hit by a tractor trailer or a car or something, because they were not slowing down. My battery, I put a second battery in the inner console, the center console, and it stopped so hard it shot the whole box forward that it was in, and cut through the wires, so they were welding themselves. And I had all my belongings in there that I was taking to a school of ministry at the time. So talk about the enemy trying to take you out. But yeah, it started catching fire. Luckily I had a kill switch. I think I hit it. I can't even remember now. Either way, that didn't end up catching fire, and I was stuck on the side of the road. But wiring issues, man. I didn't have any flashers, so I was just trying to hit the brake lights, and I was down a battery, so that wasn't gonna last all that long. But I'm still here. That was shoot, 11 years, 12 years ago. Not the only crazy story out there either. But in saying that, that bearing came apart. So if you hear any whining or noise from an axle, fix it. If you hear the noise go away, you're in trouble. Even more so than it being there. Like, if it's there and then it goes away, you're about to have a bad day. All right? So either way, axles are a big deal. Doing this stuff right's a big deal. So we're just going to do it. Doing this outside in a driveway with luck, it's not a super windy day, a little bit of wind. This is not ideal conditions. So I'm going to have to be careful even rebuilding it like this. Make sure I really clean everything when I'm putting it together, and then keep any debris out. Dirt and heat are the biggest enemies of your bearings. Any bearings, dirt and heat. Heat's always going to wipe them out. Not changing your fluid's going to inevitably have dirt in the form of metal grit that everything's getting shaved off. You have metal and metal with an oil barrier. The stuff is getting shaved down. It's just happening over time. And that's going into the fluid that's in your axles. With that being said, that's considered dirt or grit whatever you want to call it. So this one, you can see a lot of it when I broke this one open. But this truck has over 200,000 miles on it. So it was having bearing noise from the wheel bearings. So either way, if you got one, the other ones are probably close behind. So this is just a really good refresh for this axle. The axle shafts themselves, I got to get some bearings for those. And but they're not leaking or anything. They're actually not making any noise. I've spun them, they feel good. So I'm not really super worried about them. I think they're going to be fine for a while. So I may or may not do that right now, but I'm going to get these other bearings in. I'm about to, I put the ring gear on. Y'all didn't see that. I just wanted to do that. Like I said, I'm learning. So I just, I wanted that to be a me thing. But I got it on, got it all anchored down the way it's supposed to. So we're getting close. I need to put the bearings on the pinion. Get the pinion ready. We got to put the pinion in and set the preload. That should be really easy. We have a crush washer, so we cannot overdo it. So we just got to go slow. So you can always add a little bit versus you cannot take any away. So if you overdo it right now, you got to get a new crush washer. So we're just going to be nice and easy. We're going to be gentle with the impact driver and just tap it on until we get the preload we'd want. It's just supposed to just have a little bit of friction, I guess, when you go to spin it. And it should not like start, like you shouldn't have to put a lot of pressure to get it to start rotating and then it get easy. You've overdone it. You need to back that off, go get another crush washer. So we're just going to put it on nice and slow. I felt the I grabbed the yoke and spun the yoke myself at the beginning so I could see what that one felt like from the factory. Nice little easy turn. Did not take more to spin it, like to start spinning it versus to keep it moving. And there was a little bit of resistance, so we're gonna go with that. I gotta put that, I gotta tap that bearing on, and I gotta remove the either way, the seal is just stuck on this bearing right now, and I don't really know if I want to pull it off. It's sitting in there so nice, like it's supposed to be on the bearing, but it shouldn't be. But if it's that stuck, I got to be real careful not to mess that up, because that seal is important for me to keep fluid in my axle. So I'm probably just gonna shoot back over. We'll just zoom away. I am gonna go ahead here in a little bit. We're gonna be putting on the little paint, and yeah, let's see what it does. All right, now I know what you're thinking. So what we have, that's better. All right, so look, I figured something out. There's a reason no one likes to show putting in these races. This is dumb. Either way, look at that. Purdy. Got that one. And the one on the other side, I got it already. But this one, this is the hard one. That's the hard one. Getting this one in. So the key is tap it down as good as you can, get it started. But you're gonna have to have one of these small fellas. This lip right here was the hard one for me. So I could get on these enough, but getting down on that one was tough. So you gotta have a small one. I got more hammers out than I care to talk about, but my little hammer did pretty good, and it gave me enough room to swing it down and hit the top of my little punch. So with that punch, don't look too close. I may have missed a little bit, but I was able to get it started. Once it made it past the lip, I was able to use my old race, which, whatever. Either way, you put the old race on top, and then you can beat it down. That's not it. I don't know what I just did. Either way, I don't know what I just did with that. I just had it in my hand. Story of my life. So, either way, once I got that, I could tap it around with just a hammer, because it's not gonna. The lip has got extra room up here, so I can just knock it down. Got that. So now I can put the pinion in and get it torqued where it needs to go, and then check lash, and then we'll be good. But all right, man, I got a mess going. But I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I hit my first real big learning curve. So I checked. Obviously, this thing came with shims. I knew it came with shims. Either way, this is just where it gets annoying. The other pinion. So my problem right now, I'm getting tired and it's getting dark, is my pinion has play, right? Well, so fine and dandy, cool. But all this means is, so checking out this other one. Right in there, there's some spacers, and you can't see them. And even after like cleaning it, I can hardly even see the ones that are there. But I'm gonna have to pull this back out, and then pull that bearing back off the bottom, put some spacers on there, and then I don't know, maybe my mind just can't put it together all that well, because in my mind there's a crush washer. So I get that to retain tension, but, or to help set preload, but I don't understand why they couldn't have just, I don't know. It just seems like there was some stuff they could do to fix that. Like, you have to put 2 races in here. Just move one in a little bit, instead of having to space it all the time. And then just use the crush washer. But I don't know. In my mind, the crush washer should be the only thing that needs to be adjusted. But that's not the case. So I had some play. Yeah. I knew. I should have known. I've seen the videos. I've watched a bunch of videos on it, and just didn't. No one shows that part. They're always skipping over stuff, which ironically is what I'm doing. I didn't show how I got the races, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But this, you have to pull that back off, and then put some spacers on there. So I'm going to judge my gap, or my spacing that I have right now, and then I'm going to add more than that, because yeah, I need it to tighten up, which the upper bearing is almost, it's pressed on, and I can't get it any farther. Either way, it's just going to be a pain in the butt. Using the yoke end, I couldn't press it on any farther than it is right now. So, in saying that, realistically, I could just put a fat washer on the back side of there that goes over the splines, and then I could make it to where I can crush it to get what I need. But that's not the right way to do it, and it's going to interfere up here. So, I'm going to push this out the way it's supposed to. That way my ring and pinion can sit in here, and then hopefully I don't have to do too much with the backlash on that. But we'll figure it out, and go from there. But that's where I'm at today. I'm going to have to call it, because my pullers can't pull that bearing off, and I can't risk damaging it. So I got to go get the right pullers to get that off. So we'll do that tomorrow. But we'll see you then. Alright. It's a new day. It's cold. And I'm warming up pretty good. Well, okay, so I had a moment earlier. I said the first bad word I've said in a while. Being a mechanic, I don't know what it is. It will draw some cuss words out of you. Yeah. Either way, I think it's been a couple weeks. I've been doing pretty good. I have no problem not cussing in front of people, but when I'm like by myself, man, it was like I was a sailor. So, in saying that, I've got a lot of things I've conquered, so all of you guys that want to, you know, be like, oh, you're a cuss, you're not supposed to cuss, I know. I'm working on it. The Lord brings stuff up, and I work on them as he brings them up. This is on the table right now, and it's being dealt with. Like I said, I have a lot of other things I've conquered that a lot of other people may or may not be dealing with. I don't know, but I've conquered a lot of stuff. If you ever meet me in person, we can talk. But right now, actually, let me back up a little bit. I am feeling some breakthrough right now. I'm feeling oddly peaceful. The Lord's been really correcting a lot of thoughts in my head on when I get frustrated and angry, which has happened a lot. Kind of like he's pushing my buttons so that I can grow, and what he's doing. But in saying that, sorry if you hear wind. I don't have the little thing on. Let me put your toboggan on here. All right, that should be better. But went to Harbor Freight, bought a Maddox separator. Actually, I bought a couple things to try to help this process out, and this. Yeah, that was right. It looked upside down when I'm looking at it. This right here is garbage. Don't buy it. Leave it on the shelf. They need to redesign some stuff. If you look at the 1-star ratings, those are absolutely true. And I'll show you. The clamping bolts for that thing are real bent. The jaws themselves they're destroying themselves just trying to use it on a I mean, this thing can take off bigger bearings. This bearing's like 3 3/4 inches. This thing's supposed to go up to 4 3/8. Actually, this is probably a 3.5 inch base on this bearing. So 4 3/8. It should handle bigger bearings than what I'm using it for right now, and I am destroying it, using it for its purpose. So don't buy it. This icon set, not cheap. Probably going to return it too, because none of the jaws can reach anything. I may keep it. I haven't used it. I just put it together for a second just to see if I could actually try to use it to pull that off, but we're talking pretty small length. You can't even grab anything with it. And this Maddox one, the puller holes are significant. They're the same size as the clamp rods right here. Some people call them all thread. I don't like all thread. Threaded rod is all it is. It's the same size, but it doesn't fit any pullers that Harbor Freight sells. So there's that. Either way, look how nice and clean. Everything got clean, and then I got hung up. So my dead blow has seen better days, much better days. So lifetime warranty. I'm gonna probably swap that out and get a bigger one. But right now I'm having to flip this thing over and just beat it out, and it's not going fast. And I'm just happy to know that I'm feeling some peace in all this, which doesn't normally happen, which means I'm actually growing. So hopefully that growing continues, because this is where this is why I wanted to make this channel too, because daily life as a Christian is hard. And you run into stuff like this and it will kick your butt, and it's when you're getting your butt kicked is when you realize, oh man, I'm still a child. So I have 3 kids. I don't want to remain a child, and I want to be an adult. I want to grow up. I want to be mature in the Lord, and I'm actually able to use this to help. So cool. And like I said, I got some growth. I'm feeling it today. 10 minutes. We'll see what I'm like in 10 minutes. But I'm about to beat the snot out of this until this bearing comes off. And I'm doing this on the old one first, so I can see how many spacers or shims, if you want to call that, are right behind the bearing. So I've watched some videos. If I match those up at least pretty close, I may give it a smidget more. But the new one should, in theory, sit right at about the same if I put the same amount of shims behind that bearing. Here's the problem. I've already smacked that bearing on there without shims. So this tool shredding itself is going to be increasingly more fun as I try to reuse it. So I'm going to have to sharpen it with my die grinder, angle grinder, whatever you want to call it. These things aren't the best as far as power, but man, does this thing save me a lot of time. Gaskets, all that. That's what I clean all that surface up with. Man, these things are amazing. And I'll have to have my air compressor running, which I like. But yeah, look, this battery is about to die. I'm not gonna record me beating on this. Maybe I will. Either way, so I'm gonna get to hitting on this thing, try to get this off, get the right number of shims, and I may grind out the inside of that bearing to where I can get it to sit on with the shims. That way I can make sure. So that's the safest thing to do, is to do that and then make sure that everything's good. So put everything together. I guess I can use the old compression washer. Yeah, I'll just put it together. New thing, old bearing. They're the exact same bearing, so it should be good. That one is in really good shape, so I should be good there too. But wall it inside out, let it sit on there, and then get everything going that way. I'm really needing to make sure that that pinion is sitting in the center of the ring gear. So if it's sitting in the center of the ring gear, I'll be doing good. Yeah. Either way, let's see how it goes. See y'all on the flip side of, y'all don't have to do any work, you can just watch me do it. Well, it had one shim on it. I got it. And it actually didn't take that many more hits, which was really nice. But let's see if I can show y'all this. I don't know if y'all can see that good, but it chunked a bunch of stuff off, and then I had to beat it in with a hammer. So you know, y'all don't get to see all the chunks that are already came off this thing, but it's very just not great, man. And y'all aren't gonna be able to see it. With a little tension on these, you can really see how jacked up those rods are. They got bent real bad, and I never would have hit on it with a hammer if it wasn't already jacked up. So yeah, it was in a returnable status already. I may keep it, I don't know, but it doesn't do what it says it's supposed to do, so I don't really want to keep it. I'd rather take that $40 and go buy the expensive ones from like Matco or something that actually do this well. So this is good for one job, maybe. We'll see. If I can't get both these bearings off very well, I'm gonna be in a pickle. And so I'm gonna work on getting the other bearing off, and maybe I'll time lapse that. I got this time lapse going at half the regular speed, so it's like 10 seconds to 1 second that you see. So just so you know, that's the thing. So that's I guess I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get set up. I may go ahead and grind that out. I won't do that on here, but grind it out and sheesh, see if I can make it to where I can slide that on. If I can put that on, get the spacing right, we should be pretty set. I'll do that to the small bearing too, as long as I can get it to come out good, and we should be pretty set. So if I can get that to work, we'll be golden. Man, has anyone else gotten sick and it's like hung around for like a month? Yeah, it's just my sinuses, man. My sinuses are jacked up. I'm getting pressure in my ears. It's dumb. But either way, I'm gonna get started and see you on the flip. All right, so let me show y'all what I got going. This was press on, and now it's still real snug. Like, I have no movement hardly of the shaft itself, of the inner race, but nice and smooth. I was pretty happy with that. And for me, whoa, and we got our smaller bearing that goes on here. Hey, hey. So my grinding wasn't for nothing. Okay, well, now maybe I should weld that together. Well, volcano. Now it's time to get that bearing off. This one's not on. That one's just in there, but get the bottom bearing off. And then I can actually put the axle together, figure everything else out. So we're making good progress. The Lord's good, man. Other people have good ideas, and I got to learn from it from watching other YouTube videos. So sometimes I am a YouTube mechanic. That's fun. But I got serious about mechanics when I was 14, so there's craziness in here. Most of it is, it's hard. It's just hard work. It's everything's heavy. You got to beat the mess out of stuff. If you're creative, you can figure out most things with the Lord. I can't even take credit for my creativity. The Lord gives me lots of good ideas all the time, and I get to invite him into all the work I do. So it's really fun when he shows up. When I'm just overheated and frustrated and annoyed, that's not fun. But it's really fun when the Lord shows up. So don't shy away from work. My van behind me, which is way messier than I like it, which it isn't all that bad. I just have all this in the floor, and it's driving me crazy. And that's looked like crap for a while, and I gotta fix that. I need to pull all, whatever. We're not getting into that. My dad's van, the motor pretty much just went out. It lost 2 cylinders. It's got 30 psi compression in those cylinders, and he barely made it over here this morning. He was gonna actually help out and help me knock this stuff out and get it done in a timely fashion, but I'm borrowing his van right now, and he needs it back. So this truck, the pressure just got amplified, where I need to try to have this done today or tomorrow, into tomorrow, and I still have to put the whole front end back together. So I have to figure out the axle. And what's weird is this is very stressful, and just making this progress and it going as well as it is, I have a good amount of peace that I don't normally have. Now, I'm not at full peace right now, but I am like, I mean, just look at my view. I just got a good view. I got slightly misty, so it's a little cool out here. It's good working weather, but I'm like, I really have nothing to complain about, even if it's kicking my butt. It's still going fairly smooth for kicking my butt, so that's fun. Yeah, it's like, nice. I like it. Yeah, so I gotta get that other bearing off. Hopefully I don't destroy it. If I do, all work stops, right? And I have to order another bearing. That's just the way that goes. I can't reuse the other one because I have to use it for a mock-up bearing now. And yeah, so I have to get this off correctly. So hopefully this tool will still work. I'm going to use the same tool that I've been using. I'm just going to sharpen those edges. Hopefully that'll let it snake its way in underneath that bearing, and get the bearing off good. It needs to come off easy. So we'll see. I pre-lubed those bearings, not the shaft, so the shaft's still going to fight me, but I pre-lubed it with some Lucas Motor Oil oil stabilizer, and I got a gallon of it. You can also fill the differential with 100% Lucas. So that's what I'm going to put in here for longevity's sake, because it's awesome. Lucas is really good stuff. Now, for your motors, you don't want to, I mean, don't go, I would say use 40% at the most. I don't think it recommends using over 40% Lucas, but in saying that, it doesn't have additives for wear protection, and that's all in your oil. So don't just try to use it straight up in your motor. That's a terrible idea. But we've went as much as 50-50. We had diesel 50%, 1540, 50% Lucas, so a gallon of each. And it had like no oil pressure when we got it, and it shot it up to 20, and it left it there. You'd be at 40 psi running down the road and 20 at idle. So I was like, we got our truck back, and we ran that. That was a panel truck, just like a UPS truck. We ran that truck for years on that motor. Never had an issue. So, like Lucas, man, I do. And it really does protect against cold starts and stuff like that. It's very, very, very good stuff. But hopefully that'll let it come off that shaft a little easier when it moves up some. We'll see. We'll see. Y'all enjoy just lapsing time, and I'm gonna get to beating and seeing how things go. Cool. I don't know if anyone else is hot or if it's just me. Hey, that was a lot. I like my hair. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so we got it off without damaging the bearing. That was a lot of work though. Hey, yeah. So nice though. Now I should be able to put the bearings that I wallered out, put them on the new pinion, put this thing together, and I can just pull those off, put them on, and change my spacing the exact way I need to. So this should be the time where I gotta put the bearings on the outside of the carrier unit. I gotta tap those bearings on real quick, and then but it should be where I'm able to put that little paint stuff on there. I can put that on the ring gear, and then I'll see exactly how my pinion's moving on it. So right now we're looking for a good half moon shape. I want it making good contact on the gears. You can't have it too far forward or too far back, or if you put a bunch of load on it, which this truck's going to, either way, it's always going to try to move outward. So you want to be further in than out if you can help it. So obviously this process sucks, man. I'm like, as far as those bearings go, I'm like, buy 2 kits, buy 2 rebuild kits, and just waller out a new one, man. Especially if you're going to do more than one of those axles. Goodness, if we should have a shop location now. We just got to solidify everything. But man, if I could get into like axle rebuilding, that's probably exactly what I would do. And then like these, I'm going to keep these 2 for the pinion for a Chevrolet. So I'll even keep that. Well, I may see if someone needs the ring and pinion. I'm not going to put the stock gear ratios back in. So I mean, at this point, I'd probably just buy some more axles to get the stock one. Stock that's nothing. It's easy to get stock stuff. It's hard to get modified. So this one being modified, if I wanted to sell the truck, I could sell the truck a lot better with the gear ratios changed. Or at least the next person will enjoy driving it. I'm nervous I'm just gonna smoke these tires off everywhere I go, because I'm telling you, right here in my driveway, if I just romp the gas, it would spin that 35. So that the motor does not care about the tire, motor or trans. So either way, this is gonna change some things. So hopefully, I had to shoot a little high on the gear ratio by, you know, 0.21 or I guess 0.31 rotations, which that's a lot. That is a lot. So hopefully, I was sitting at like 1900 RPMs going down the interstate. This thing's a 6-speed. Hopefully it'll put me, I don't know, hopefully no more than 2100 RPMs. But we'll see. If I end up running some crazy high RPM, I may just pull the whole lift kit off and put some stock axles back underneath it, because I don't want to do that. And then I could tow a lot more with this truck anyway. So I do also have another set of these bumpers to move. Come on, screen. Yeah, that bumper right there. This truck was in an accident, so the whole grill and lights and radiator and all that was replaced. And the bumper's a little bit bent. I could probably straighten this one out. I don't really care though. I have a whole nother one. So the other one, I'll do a video on me welding it together. It's going to be a fun project. And either way, I'm really looking forward to it. But I have the front and the back, or should have both. Is what the guy told me, but it's in pieces, so I don't know yet. And that running board's coming off. I got these out of a dumpster. These are going to go on it. And I still got to get all that glue off. That glue's going to go. I thought about doing some body work to it too, and just seeing however it goes, but one step at a time. I am trying to get the back windows working and all that too, so we'll see. I got to get headliner stuff, blah blah blah. I'll just make some videos as I go, and if I can. I can't always carry my camera around, but yeah. So right now I'm about to do my fit up, and I'm just gonna turn the camera off for a moment and get set up, and we'll go from there. All right, so got it back together. Obviously I'm not setting end play. This is too loose, obviously, but I don't have any back and forth movement, which is what I needed. So past that, what I need to do, put the carrier bearings on, and then I can sit that in there and paint it. So I just wanted y'all to see. I just put those spacers on the back side, drop the bearing on, put it together. I put the old, from my old stuff over there, I put the compression washer. I'll show you. This is the new one, and it's dirty, but compression washer. It's got that bump in it, so when you squeeze it, it presses that bump out. And it's basically just it retains this position, but it's also like a lock washer. I'm sorry, I was staring off in the distance again. It's not the greatest view in the world, but it's pretty nice for a, you know, $150,000 house. Whatever. Yeah, so I'm about to do that. Paint, bearings, all the good stuff, and then we're going to be able to know, because this won't move any further in or out, and it can't go farther in because we have everything stopping it. So all we can do is adjust the tension on the tail shaft, on the yoke, and we'll get the pressure we need. This needs to be tighter, but it's good enough to do this next part. And then I'll actually set this with the new bearings, and because this looks like it's working, so I just need to make sure it's not too far out, which is what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you on the flip. I know what you're thinking. How can we continue? We're out of coffee. We may have to call it a day. I just got the bearings on, but ran out of coffee. Man. Yeah, secretly I'm a painter. It's the whole reason I did this job, just to paint things. Haha, psych. Yeah, right. But there it is. Sorry, trying to get the back screen to light up. Light up, light up. There we go. So you got to make sure you paint the tip and all the way in the valley down in there. You don't paint all the way through, you're not going to see if your pinion gear is actually bottoming out. You do not want to bottom out, because with heat everything expands. So if you bottom out now, you're going to blow your gear set apart when it gets hot. So just don't do that. But if you like painting, you should totally take on this job. I'm a terrible painter. I'm seeing all the spots I missed. Goodness. You got to get both sides very, very, very good on this. And because you're going to rotate it both directions. So when you rotate in both directions, you're going to do a couple passes, 2 or 3 rotations each side. And you want to have enough of this on there to where you're really going to know what's going on. So if you want enough to, I think that when you spin all this over, it carries to the other gears. So you're not just relying on the painted parts, you're relying on the non-painted teeth as well. And just lets you see the whole story. But yeah, I'm getting close to sitting this thing in there. I'm just gonna lube those bearings up and make sure they're good. I'm gonna sit in there and see what it does, and I'll just show you all the aftermath of the whole thing. When you sit this in there though, make sure you're putting a non-painted part on the pinion, because you don't everything's got to settle some, and you got to put the back housing on. So when you put the back housing on, it's gonna shift the other bearing on the other side. So you want to make sure that you're not messing up the paint and getting an inaccurate reading. So put the side of the gear that's not painted against the pinion. I'm sure y'all heard that when I looked away, but yes, you get the point. Did you freeze? You froze. And camera. All right, so let me show you where we're at. I made some progress. This is why I kind of wanted to do this job, because so many people won't do it. You know what I mean? It is a lot of work. And this is my first one. I can testify it's a lot of work. Now, the better you get at it, the better you get at it. The more you do, the more used to everything you are. Awesome. So, here's the thing. This chunk, this carrier unit's not light, and I have to keep picking it up by the bearing because you can't sit it in there any other way. So, There's no room for your fingers. You put your fingers in there, you're gonna you're gonna be running out of those soon, very quickly, because you're gonna pinch them and they're gonna be swollen. It's gonna be awesome. So either way, when I put this in, I got horrible contact, and I'll show you. So I got spinning forward, I'm only contacting on the front part. That's not good. I got a lot of play back and forth. On the back side, when I spin it this way, I'm getting a lot of contact there, right? So you got to be able to put it in forward and reverse, so it's got to work both directions. So that's why this is important. Now these need to be centered up. They need to be almost in the exact same spot on both sides. And then over here, I'm contacting the very outside of my ring gear. Now this is already bad. If you put more pressure on this, you're going to be way over. It's going to kick you out a little bit. So you're going to strip all the teeth off real quick. So what we got to do is space that pinion out more so we get more into the depth of the gear, right? And then, because if you can see, I'm going super deep inside of the grooves there. I'm going to have to space that out a little bit. But I'm going to do the pinion first. We're going to see how that goes. And I don't really want to add more spacers, but I have to. But this is why doing the bearings the way I did it is super important. But yeah, so here we go. And I'm going to knock that out, and I'll see you on the flip. Alright, so the wife's putting the kids down. I just spent some time with the family. And I'm working on this all day between driving back and forth and all. So, listen, where I'm at right now, the case is hard to put back together. It's getting way too much. It's binding when I go to put the ring and pinion the carrier in and on top of the pinion. So what I need to do right now is loosen that up, because I can't get an accurate reading on my ring and pinion until I get that. So I have to pry that pin up, pries out of the way, and then that spins. On the bottom side, it has the race, and that race will actually move. I noticed that putting it in, I was like, wow, that's really loose. As far as like it just dropped down pretty easy. So that was good. Now knowing that this is supposed to adjust. So what I'm gonna have to do is back this off, spin it to the left. It's already spinning, like it spins easy. So I should just be able to pry that up and then spin it and then be good to go. But I have to really keep up with how many notches I go, right? So if I go 8, I need to make sure I do 8 on the other side. So I'm probably going to do one full rotation and just see if it sits in better. And I'm not going to bend that tab back down until I'm ready to lock this thing back down where it needs to be. But I have to do the same thing to the other side, which has a little bit different setup. Where, wow. Sorry, I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm in my mobile shop now. Should be a 10mm bolt right. Alright, so we are in the mobile shop. Today's sponsor. Oh man. Still got a little coffee left, so I don't have to give up yet. So that's cool. Right now, where I'm at is, if I put this casing together with the carrier assembly in there, it binds. So this gear is thicker overall than the last gear that was in here, the ring gear. So you would think that the smaller pinion, it would all work out. It doesn't. So what I'm gonna have to do is start doing some adjusting. I gotta pry this pin up. I gotta move this out. So I gotta spin this lefty loosey. It'll bring that up. That'll let this, well, the bearing on the other side, it'll let it sit farther up, which will move the ring gear away from the pinion a little bit. That should stop my binding. So what you do the one side, you got to do the other. So on this side, I got to take this 10mm bolt loose. But since I'm going left on this one to bring it out, this one's going to be righty-tighty to move it in. So it should be the same amount of teeth each. So if I move 2 teeth on that one, I got to move 2 teeth on this one. This one's going to be a little simpler. 10mm bolt. It'll loosen. It'll let me take the stop pin out. We'll move that out of the way. And these can be a pain in the butt. So I got to spin this one right, these can get kind of locked up, so we're gonna play with that and hopefully get it with a punch. If not, I will apply heat. I don't care at this point. I'm ready to get done. I don't like missing time with my family. I should be putting my kids down right now. My wife's having to do it. I don't like that stuff. But time to be a man and do the stuff you don't want to do. So I got to be out here stuck in my truck. This is my box truck. I just cleared my bench off. And so this is where I'm working. This is inside my truck. This is my nice stainless steel top. So we're going to knock on this. It's going to be super loud if I have to use a hammer. Hopefully I don't. Hopefully all this will break free pretty easy. That's already loose. I just got to get that pin up, but I'm going to have to use a hammer more than likely to pry that pin. It's going to be very hard to get that, and so maybe I'll use one of my pullers or something like that, a seal puller. I'm going to see if I got any weird screwdrivers. Maybe I'll bend one. But either way, it's cramped. I don't really have anywhere to put this camera. I got my box of, this is all oil filters, my hat, and a couple of things of spray grease and stuff, but I don't have a great place to put you guys, and so you get to skip more of the process. Lucky you. Okay, yeah, lucky. I don't, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started and see you on the other side. All right, this is as good as it's gonna get. I'm at like 7 or 8 attempts. I've over adjusted. Obviously it started out under adjusted, but I've over corrected, trying to get that drive marking to be perfect. I've had the rear one pretty good, but yeah, right now I'm gonna have to run it like this. This is the best I can get it. Have more shims on there than I actually want to see on one, but this is my first one, so I guess it is what it is. Obviously we're using some cheaper stuff, and if you watch any videos out there, the cheaper stuff doesn't always work out as great. But I'll show you what I got, and yeah. So right here, yeah, I'm getting some pretty good across the front. So my backlash isn't perfect right now, and I'm hoping. So I'm riding edge on both sides. So in reverse, I'm riding the edge on the inside. In forward, I'm riding that triangle right there. And it goes over a little farther than it's going to show on here. So the backlash is way out right now, which is okay. That's riding as best as I'm going to be able to get it. So yeah, the gear's going to move a little bit closer. So I'm hoping what should happen is that allows for the forward rotation. That allows it to be a little deeper in the center. And the reverse rotation should be more towards the center too, if all the stuff I was studying was accurate, or if I retained it correctly. So someone out there is going to tell me I'm wrong or right or something, but hey, this is my axle. Yeah, there it is. So this is the best I can get it. I'm going to put the real bearings in the pinion now with the crush washer. I'm going to set that. It's raining. It's late. Shoot, right now it's not too bad. Oh, it's only 9:30. Been out here way later than that. So right now though, I'm going to go ahead and get the pinion in with the real bearings, like I said, and then yeah, then it's just going to be go time for setting the backlash. So backlash is going to be fine. I got the I went to that boat product place, you know, that place. I went there. Don't ask me why I got those. Those are, if I have to pull the head off of something, I kind of want to see the oblong shape inside the cylinder wall on some motors, because see if they're worth rebuilding or see if it's way too overdone. I don't want to bore anything. We do commercial products, and I do not want to do anything like 30 thousandths over, which is typically okay, but I don't want to do that. So that'll help me at least measure it. I got a pair of calipers in this van somewhere. And I don't know what I did with them, but I'll find them eventually. But either way, I got the magnetic base and everything for this to check backlash. So that's what I'm going to do. Apparently this specific unit, the 9.25, you check it on the yoke, on the input shaft, on the outside of the unit. I guess that's because this is not your typical chunk. So this one bolts together through the center versus it being like a back housing. So I guess that's the difference. But either way, you're supposed to get your backlash and then divide it by 2. And I think we're looking for like 0.8. So we should get like 16 thousandths and it'll be 8 thousandths. So either way, I'm gonna double check that, I guess, or triple check it and just make sure. But yeah, so we should be doing pretty good there. But that's next step. I'm not gonna record it, but just let you know what I'm gonna do, because all you're gonna see me do is the same crap you've been seeing. And I'm just gonna impact drive this thing, go real super slow and gentle. That way I get my backlash just right, or the pressure just right. Once I do that, carrier goes in, and then it's just the adjustments on the outside that we talked about before. I just got to get it adjusted right. So I got over adjusted the last time. So I went, what was it, 12 teeth. So 1 full rotation of the small side, and then 12 teeth on the large side. There's actually like 14 or 15 teeth on that one, so I didn't do a full rotation, but it was the same amount of teeth. In saying that, that's next. So maybe I can bring you along. I'll see if I can set this up and maybe just do a time lapse or something and finish out the video that way. But we're getting close. Today should be done. Should be back together. If you see me putting sealant on there, then you know we've made it and we're doing good. So yeah, I'm excited. Just gotta remember to put all the parts back in there that are supposed to be in there. If I forget that, it's gonna be a bad day, don't you think? I think it would be. But cool. See y'all on the flip. Well, it's back together. Yeah, man. We'll see. It is a little bit tight on the input. But it feels real good though. The in play is great. Yeah. I got my backlash to 7.5 after dividing. Which is right where it's supposed to be. Put the seal in. I'm sure y'all saw everything, but either way, happy to have it back together. At least I can throw it back in the truck and see what it does. Hopefully it works. For those of you who stuck around and made it all this way, I want to pray for you and just say a special prayer. And yeah, thanks for, I'm just a Christian doing this stuff, and I appreciate you watching. So, Lord, what a great day. Thank you so much for this axle getting finished. Hopefully it goes well. Lord, I pray you prepare my heart if it doesn't. And yeah, because so many things can go wrong right now. But we pray that if anything does fail, you keep me safe. And but most of all, I just pray you bless the work of my hands. And yeah, put your hands on this stuff. Thank you so much for being involved. Thank you for answering prayers while I was doing this. Lord, I pray for the people who are watching that you will give them a special blessing just for being interested in this stuff. Lord, I pray you bless their minds and bless their hearts. And through this, I pray that you teach us more about you. Lord, you can use anything. And I pray you teach us about you and use these times in our lives where everything is kind of crazy and hectic, and just bless us, Lord. And since I'm in one of those moments, I pray you share that blessing with the people watching and just go be with them, Lord. We love you. Thank you so much for being here and being with us. And yeah, thank you for just even the know-how to try to figure this stuff out. And thank you for other people who are doing it. And I pray you bless the next people who try and bless the people watching. Amen. And that's in the name of Jesus if you need it. But definitely in the name of Jesus, amen. But it doesn't matter if I love you. He loves you. You go do your Christian stuff. See y'all next time.